Welcome back to the Ideas Exchange in Melbourne. We're just about to break here for lunch, so that's 600-700 people are going to be streaming out, so it might just get a little bit noisy. Anyway, it's great to have you back once again. Coming up in this half hour, we've got a number of people. Mark Earle will join me in just a moment from the Buxton Property Group. Shannon Davies will be along from Image Property Management. Shannon's going to tell us about lifting fees and growing your rent roll. Graney from McGrath in South Australia will be here with her recipe for success, and Katie Smith from Williams Real Estate and the traits of a good salesperson. Also this half hour you're going to be hearing from Tim Heaviside, Phil Kingston and Brad Caldwell-Isles. But we're going to take you now to talk to the consummate mind coach himself, Jet Xavier. We'll be back with you in just a moment. Jet, is there an acknowledgement now that as well as getting a skill coach, we need a mindset coach?
Definitely, mate. I mean, there's been a lot of times when people have got a skill set coach, and they've put some runs on the board, but they've still come up short. And they've tried to figure out, well, why is that? I've got a skill set coach. I'm doing everything right, so to speak. But when we look at coaching from a mindset point of view, we're taking care of all the issues around consistency, around productivity, around discipline, around performance. So I think a mindset coach is just as important as a skill set coach. But I think what agents need to realise is that having a coach is important. And it sets you apart from everyone else. If you look at all the great industries around the world, all the great CEOs, upper management, etc., all the great entrepreneurs, they've all got a coach or had a coach at some point in their career. Why? Because the coach can see from the objective perspective. They can see things you can't see. They can get in a helicopter above your business and see what's going on. So mindset coaching is relatively new to any industry, but it's catching on really quickly because people are realising, okay, I've got the skill set, but and that's getting me so far, but where I'm coming up short consistently is in my discipline. It is in my motivation. So what happens with mindset coaching and performance coaching is we try and change that conditioning. It's just like a muscle. When you want to get bigger biceps, you go into the gym and you work that muscle. If you don't work the muscle, then it's not going to work for you. It's the same with the brain. So agents come into the industry or in the industry and they have a certain level of conditioning around behaviour that gets them the responses that they have in their business. If they want that to change, they have to change the conditioning.
Welcome back. Always a great font of advice is Jet Xavier. Joining me now from Buxton Real Estate Group, Mark Earle. Now Mark heads up the Sandringham office as well as looking after all the training and mentoring for the Buxton Group. And as well as that, is a very active agent, probably one of the best agents in Victoria, also a very accomplished auctioneer. Started real estate at a very young age, I believe, too, Mark.
Yes, it's been 20 years at the end of this year, so it feels like I'm a veteran. Before internet, when home phone numbers still existed on the board, God forbid, so times have changed.
They certainly have changed. One thing that hasn't changed, though, is the fact that many agents continue to do the same thing and expect to get a different result. Why is that?
Yeah, it's incredible. It's a question that we all sort of ask ourselves as managers of people or leaders in the business, and particularly when you see people that have got really good people skills, good talents, not being able to go to that next level. For example, here today there's some 650 people that will get some terrific ideas from an array of unbelievable speakers that have actually been there, done it, doing it currently. And yet often people walk away with that motivation and yet don't know where to start. And it can be as simple as putting 1 or 2 or 3 simple things into practice, but the consistency and the dedication to follow that through is what very few people seem to have the ability to do.
Is it because when you come to training or you go to a training course, not necessarily a day like today, but you walk away with so much stuff you don't really know where to start or what to implement?
I think it can be a bit confusing because there is so many things that you can do to improve.
Yeah.
The best advice I ever received years ago was pick 1 or 2 things and just put them into your business and then have a whole plan for things that you may incorporate down the track. But just start with a couple of things but you need some accountability to make sure that you do incorporate them. Again, we can be our own worst enemy sometimes, and it's what you're doing when nobody's watching that really counts in this business, because you can bluff your way through a day and a week. And as it's been mentioned here today, the top performers are spending typically the same amount of time in the business as what the poorer performers are, yet it's what they do with their time that makes the big difference between the outcomes at the end of it.
Tell me some of the things that you've done in the last 12 months that have really moved your business forward quite well.
Look, we've got a very heavy training philosophy within our group to make sure that people have got the skill sets to tackle, an array of different situations. And I think if people are practicing and rehearsing that, they have the confidence. And I've always said, as most people do in this business, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. It's a belief and conviction behind it. But really, it's the accountability behind that. And I have the one-on-one accountability with a few of our guys within the office. They've got to want to have that. They've got to want to be part of it. But really, accountability or a peer partner. James Keenan just spoke on stage very recently about his very successful long-term peer partnership with Nick West. For me, having that honesty and that relationship with somebody that you can be fairly brutal to each other if required on a weekly basis to keep you on track is critical if you do want to have success in this business.
You mentioned there about coaching. Is coaching a big part of what you do in your business? I know that you are a coach to a number of your top agents, but do you think it's an important part of moving forward?
Whether you're running a business or whether you're a salesperson and it's you incorporated and it's your own business, which it is within a business, for me it was critical. I started some 15 years ago when I felt that I'd hit what I was a pinnacle of real estate. I think I was writing about $550,000 in gross commissions at the time. This is back in the late 90s. And I called a gentleman called Andrew Kelleher to ask him if he'd give me some one-on-one coaching. I'd pay him $1,000 a month to get onto his wavelength, I suppose, and expect a different performance level from myself, as well as get some habits and traits from somebody that was more advanced than where I was. So for me, that was a massive part of my evolution. And whether it was Andrew Kelleher, James Tostman, Peter Gilchrist, Dr. Fred Gross, I've had several people over the years that have really helped different parts of my journey.
You've got to be a sponge there. You've got to be a receptor for that, haven't you? I mean, it's one thing you can get a great coach, like Fred Gross, for instance, and you may relate to him, but someone else won't. You've really got to take on what they say.
Absolutely, and you'll have different people throughout different parts of your career that will probably connect or you will resonate with, depending on where you're at. Life balance is a very passionate thing that I'm all about. I don't want to work 70 hours a week in real estate. I want to have balance. I want to have 12 weeks holiday a year. So it's not just about sort of the business side of it, it's about the whole thing, because if you've got an effective and good personal life, I believe that translates into a very successful business life, providing you've got that drive, the passion, the energy, enthusiasm to not look at it just from a dollar's point of view, but look at it from a personal performance point of view and what you can do to make you the best person you are. And that's different levels for different people. But I think it's very easy these days to earn $100,000 in real estate or $150,000 and really not do a lot. Whereas you could do the same amount of hours and literally earn 2, 3, 4 times as much if you're prepared to put the investment and time into and treating it as a sport almost in some respects, as opposed to just need to meet these monthly requirements and commitments to have the lifestyle that I'd like to have.
So what are the things that you'll be doing in the next 12 months to really capitalise on this market to move your business forward?
To be honest, there's nothing there that's any different to the past. I want to make sure that we evolve the $200,000 performers to 400 and 4 to 6 and so forth. It's growing the team within our business, evolving our PA structure with the people that are performing well, making sure that their systems are not being wasted in terms of their effectiveness out in the field. So for me, it's more of the same, but hopefully just continuing improvement down that path for them and for the business collectively. Yeah.
Mark, I want to thank you for giving us your time today and all the best with your career.
It's a pleasure. Thank you very much for having me.
Good on you. Okay, thank you.
Cheers.
Mark Earle there from Buxton Real Estate Group. And I just want to remind you that we'll be here through until about 1:15 this afternoon, but next week we're going to be coming to you live from the Ideas Exchange in Sydney, and I have to tell you that it is totally booked out. There is not one seat available. The only way you're able to find out what's happening in Sydney on Tuesday is by tuning into our broadcast. We'll be back again on Tuesday from 7:30 and again from 12:30, so make sure you lock into that same website you're on right now to pick it up. We'll come back in just a moment. I'll be talking to Shannon Davies from Image Property Management, and he'll be telling us about how they lift fees and how they've grown their rent roll. We're coming to you live from the Ideas Exchange in Melbourne. We'll be back in just a moment. See the biggest lineup of successful real estate professionals, coaches and mentors ever assembled with Domain's Insight to Success.
As a licensed estate agent with over 25 years of industry experience, Kevin knows exactly what questions to ask to uncover the secrets to success.
Everything you need to know to join the ranks of successful operators. All yours, free every week.
Welcome to Real Estate Uncut, the free daily podcast for real estate professionals, featuring top-performing agents, mentors, coaches, and great leaders, hosted by Australia's leading independent property commentator, Kevin Turner. You can listen on your laptop or on the go with any mobile device or through iTunes. Sign up at the website, it's free, and discover how Real Estate Uncut can improve your success today.
Hi and welcome back to our broadcast from the Ideas Exchange in Melbourne, and this of course is coming to you with the compliments of Domain, and we thank them for their support too, because without them we simply wouldn't be able to bring this to you. Visual Domain, the guys who are doing all the technology here, and of course the Real Estate Project who have been our hosts. I'm Kevin Turner from Real Estate Uncut. My next guest, a man I met about 3 years ago when he just started his business called Image Property Management, and in that time he's developed the business to an incredible rent roll of about 1,000 properties, just a touch under 1,000. He's just opened his second office and while he has a focus on property management, or that's certainly where he started, he's now just branched into becoming a buyer's agent as well. I'm talking about Shannon Davies, my next guest. Shannon, thank you for being with us today.
Thanks, Kevin.
I wanted to ask you about what steps you've taken. I mean, 1,000 properties over 3 years, that's pretty phenomenal growth. What have you done to actually achieve that?
Well, we're just trying to give the customer what they want. I think the existing database has been the biggest catalyst for the growth, and contacting with them, soft phone calls, no news phone calls, and developing.
Well, what's a no news phone call?
Just when you ring your client and there's nothing wrong with the property or with the tenant, but you're just asking how the service has been, is there anything that can be improved? And often from their leads will come, referrals will come, their sale option or buying options will be discussed, and just taking a genuine care for their benefit.
In the last few years, maybe even more than 3 years, we've seen this growth of specialist businesses like yours, that are just focused totally on property management. Has that come about because of, I know in your case, it came about probably because you were unhappy with your current manager and thought you could do it better. Do you think that specialist area of property management has helped us develop big rent rolls?
Yeah, I think so. I think in a traditional real estate, where there's a sales focus, it's a more long-term relationship with a property management. If property's a long-term hold, 5 to 7 years, we've got to have a genuine care for our customers. And often in the traditional real estate offices, if it's all about the sales team, property management can be neglected, and that bodes well for a specialist property management business.
Interesting to hear you say that, because now you've sort of come the other way, where you've now developed a buyer's agency within your agency. Why did you go down that path?
I think as an investor from the get-go, I've always been more interested in buying property and holding property and the holding costs associated, rather than the selling of property. I think there's too much focus on buying and selling, and I think that's maybe a poor way to gain financial independence.
Just very quickly, if I could just ask you about lifting fees. We've only got about a minute to go. What's one strategy you've put in place to lift your fees in the last 12 months?
Yeah, just breaking down the rent roll and looking at potentially the last third as an area to lift the fees up.
Yep.
And as I've got better, I've been more comfortable to sell at a higher, rate of commission. So it's something that as we've developed better ways of getting and being stronger in confidence of our service and asking a better fee.
Shannon, thanks for your time.
No worries, Kevin.
Shannon Davies from Image Property Management. Stay with us, because in about 30 seconds time I'm going to introduce Jo Graney to you from McGrath Real Estate Group in South Australia, and she is going to give us her recipe for success. We're coming to you live from the Ideas Exchange in Melbourne. See the biggest lineup of successful real estate professionals, coaches and mentors ever assembled with Domain's insights to success.
Join Kevin Turner. In each episode, he goes one-on-one with some of Australia's top performers in the biggest video series produced exclusively for the real estate industry. Kevin's experience perspective unveils powerful insights to help you understand how people are succeeding in the current marketplace.
All yours, free every week. Welcome back to the Ideas Exchange in Melbourne, and my next guest, I'm delighted to be able to talk to her because I have only met her about 30 seconds ago, but have read a lot about Jo Graney. Jo is from McGrath Real Estate Group in South Australia, and I said, is all this correct? I'll just quickly read it out to you. Bank clerk, wife, mother, real estate agent, business owner, board member, trainer and coach. She said, yeah, if you go over the last 50 years. But that's quite a history. How did you end up in real estate?
Well, I've been in real estate for 25 years, but I fell into it. I had an experience as a customer, as a tenant, a vendor and a purchaser, none of which were very successful. When someone offered me the opportunity, I jumped on it because I figured I could do it better, and the rest is history. Well,
yes, it is, but you know, a great history too. Now, you're the general manager of your own operation.
Of McGrath Group now, no. I consult to them.
Yes.
I'm a business consultant and coach, and they hire me and I work for them as their
Fantastic.
general manager. Yes.
Well, tell me about your secret to success.
Well, I have a recipe for success for life, but predominantly over my business coaching and also training real estate agents over the last 15 years. There's always been one factor to have sustainability, and that is a basic recipe for success, and there's 4 ingredients and they must be used in the right way. A bit like baking a cake, you must actually follow the recipe step by step. The first one is health. Without health you've got nothing. Health provides you energy, vitality. Real estate is a demanding business, and to be passionate and have a great attitude you have to have good health, but you also have to have energy and vitality. So you have to look after your health on an ongoing basis. A little bit every day helps immensely, but I've always seen successful agents have put their health first. The second one is relationships. Life is relationships, whether they be relationships internally in the business, externally in the business, in your personal life. You can be very, very successful when you're career only and earning a lot of money. It's a very sad thing if you've got no one to share it with. But not only that, it's very hard to be successful in your business without being a great relationship builder. So that's the second thing you must look at, and you must work on that every day. The third thing is lifestyle. Life is short. Whether it be that your passion or your goal is to travel the world or buy a house or drive a Ferrari or play with your grandchildren, it doesn't matter what that passion is, but you must do it on a consistent basis, because that's what keeps them there. Feeds the health, feeds the relationships, but also feeds the positivity. And lastly is your career. Work on it every day. That's the vehicle that fuels the other things.
Interesting that's last too.
Yeah, if you turn it upside down, and I'm sorry to say, well, I speak from experience. I actually did that in my first 10 years of real estate, worked running 2 or 3 businesses very successfully on the surface, but everything else was falling around behind me. So after that, I learnt the lesson that the recipe must be done in order.
Wonderful stuff, Jo. It's been lovely talking to you. Thank you and for giving us your time here today. You've enjoyed so far?
I have. It's been very, very exciting.
Good on you. Lovely. Thank you, Jo. Stay with us because Tim Heaviside's going to be along in just a moment from Fletcher's. He'll be talking about preparing for an appraisal. Yet to come, we've got Katie Smith from Williams Real Estate, and we're going to be looking at the traits of really good salespeople. We're coming to you live from the Ideas Exchange in Melbourne. We'll be back in just a moment. Tim, how do you prepare for the appraisal? What do you do before you go to the property?
Preparation is the key with anything in life, and that's the same when it comes to appraisals. So I make sure that we've printed a substantial amount of brochures on the suburb that you're going into. You've got also the PDOL or the prep work in terms of a CMA. So we run by the motto of 60-6-60.
So let's go through that again. Within 60 seconds.
A text message.
6
minutes. An email. And 60 minutes, you're getting the pre-list.
Very good. So that's 3 points of contact straight after that, even before you step inside the door.
That's right. So they've already got a pretty good awareness that, gee, this bloke's on the ball.
Is there a structure to your presentation that you follow every time?
So I do the sit to a sit method. So I like to, when I come in the door, I always ask if we can sit down and have a chat first.
But typically, what will you cover in that chat?
I go through an intention statement.
Now, I think you said from there you go on the tour.
Yep. Sometimes vendor will go, oh, you can just have a look around. And you say, look, I feel a bit intrusive if I just looked around. If you can guide me around and point out things that you've done to improve on the property or anything you might see as a selling feature, and I can take some notes. Is that okay?
And what are you looking for on that tour?
It could be, they've got barrack for someone in the football or the cricket, or they've got some sort of family memorabilia you can touch on, and you just pick up little clues. I want to get going deep and get an understanding of what the client's about. And when you know that, then you can provide the right solutions. And you've got to ask questions. That's the only way you can connect with people. Ask questions and they'll provide the answers. Because you've got one chance at really making a fantastic impression. And what we're doing every single time with an appraisal, it's an interview process. And it's refining that interview process and make people think, gee, I want to use this bloke to do the job for me.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Kevin Turner from Real Estate Uncut, and we're coming to you live from the Ideas Exchange in Melbourne, and we do this, of course, on behalf of Domain, Visual Domain, and the Real Estate Project. My next guest is Katie Smith. Now, Katie has had an incredible career, having moved from a receptionist to now co-owner of her own business. She is the managing director and co-owner of Williams Real Estate in Victoria. It's a tremendous achievement, and I was really excited to talk to you because not very often do we see someone come from a receptionist through to becoming the business owner. How did you achieve that?
I think with obviously the right mentors around me, I had fantastic support. I really, and obviously I must have shown.
There's got to be a bit of potential in there.
Perhaps. I was 19 years old.
Yeah.
Young girl. This was my first full-time job. Sat at reception, and after perhaps a couple of weeks, one of the sales agents then asked if I would be his assistant. And back then, 15 years ago, being a PA in the sales...
that was pretty new in those days.
It was very new.
Yeah.
In fact, I think I was the first PA, a sales PA in my area of Williamstown.
So from that you went into sales itself?
I went into sales as his PA for about two and a half years. And from there, I really, really enjoyed the PA role. I must say, I was very comfortable in that role. Really thoroughly enjoyed being under the banner of having a salesperson who was my mentor.
Yeah.
But he then wanted to move into another field, which actually opened the door up to me. He called it throwing me out of the nest, which I thought was great. But now that I look back on it, it was the best thing that he actually did for me and that I did for myself.
Okay, Katie, you've seen it from three different sides. You've seen it from the receptionist side, you've been one, and now you're actually employing salespeople. What do you see as the traits of really good salespeople?
Now, I really I've gone a lot into recruitment just in the last few months. I've actually owned the business now for 5 years, and just this year I'm really looking heavily into the recruitment side of things. More importantly, I've realised how important it is to have good people in general working for you. Not perhaps to be the best salesperson or making the most money, but to have the right personality, persistence, then the right nature, those things, but that they will create
You're talking about a culture here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They have to be the right people to fit into the culture.
To the culture, Your culture, is that something you consciously build, or is it something that just happens?
In the first couple of years of owning the business, it wasn't something that I really did look at, but certainly in the last 3 years, now that I've seen so many great people come and work with me, I can certainly now see how important it is to have the right people working with us.
Where do you see salespeople go wrong? I mean, when they lose their way?
Sure. It's when they actually start to believe things in their own mind that perhaps aren't actually right.
Give me an example.
For example, they start not believing in advertising in the local paper.
I see.
For example, they start believing that they've been in the industry long enough that they don't have to prospect anymore, and they'll get perhaps or try to get their assistant or personal assistant to prospect for them.
Yeah.
I think that's the two areas where they start.
Yeah, well, I talked to Mark Frater about that from Bell Property this week in Real Estate Uncut, the 5 stages of a business. It's interesting to watch them too when they go into complacency, then decline and resignation. Very few of them get onto that plane of that constant improvement, and it's fascinating to watch this in salespeople because it is one of the common faults, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think the best thing in a salesperson is to be creative and to embrace new ideas.
Yeah.
And have a passion for what you're doing.
Yeah, passion. I want to pick up on that word because I think it's absolutely vital to be passionate about what you do. The people I've spoken to today here in this broadcast, there's one thing they've got is that passion. I can see it in you too.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I want that to be in all my staff, not just the sales team, but the rentals team as well, the receptionist. I think I have much more much more involvement in my receptionist area and my administration area than perhaps any other director because I've been there. I understand what they're looking for, the support.
Jo, it's been fantastic talking to you. Thank you for giving us your time. And congratulations on your work too.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Stay with us, we've got more to come. We're going to take a short break now. As you can probably hear, people are coming out for the lunchtime break here at the Ideas Exchange. I want to quickly remind you before we take that break that the only way you can discover now, unless you're going to be there, what's happening in Sydney on Tuesday is to join our broadcast. We'll be coming to you again from Sydney at the Ideas Exchange at 7:30 on Tuesday morning, and then we'll be back again at lunchtime, which I think is about 12:30 in Sydney on Tuesday. So make sure you lock in the site you're watching on right now. Come back. We've got a whole lot of new guests we'll have for you in those 2 programs as well. Stay with us. We're going to take a short break. We'll come back. We've got lots more to come. We're coming to you live from the Ideas Exchange in Melbourne.
Capture the hearts and minds of an unlimited audience with online video. It's the ultimate open for inspection. Visual Domain has produced over 20,000 property videos, leading the way in real estate marketing. Showcase your property to a global audience. Join the digital revolution.
Welcome back to the Ideas Exchange in Melbourne. We are going to wrap the show up now. We've got a couple of episodes for you to stay on and watch. We've got Philip Kingston and also Brad Colwell-Isles will be coming to join us straight after we finish this broadcast, so don't leave us. A reminder once again, join us next Tuesday. Join us next Tuesday, 7:30 in the morning, and then again at 12:30. I want to thank our sponsors to Domain, Visual Domain, the Real Estate Project, and of course Real Estate Uncut, who've been bringing us these broadcasts all through today. I want to thank our guests from today, Michael Sheargold, Sherry Storer, Tim Foote, Mark Earle, also Shannon, Davies, Joe Graney, and Katie Smith. I also want to thank all the team from Visual Domain. They've been doing a fantastic job in streaming this to you. This is the new way to learn. You're going to be seeing a lot more of this as we'll be bringing it to you in the days, weeks and even months to come. I'm Kevin Turner from Real Estate Uncut. That's all from here. Thank you for being with us. Make sure you tune in again next Tuesday, 7:30 in the morning and then again at 12:30 in the afternoon. We'll see you then. Thank you.